Hey, 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 it's Saturday. How's it going? Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's chilling. You know, hope everyone's in a chill mood. Last Saturday of January. Last day of January. Wow. And I'm still like, is it 2026 yet? This year is just flying by. Incredible. But yes, we are here already. We are almost... Hey there, Vanny Fanty. Almost in the second month of 2026, right? Like, for me personally over here, and for the rest of us in Australia, we're just a few hours away. It's unreal. But yeah. So what better way to celebrate? What better way to celebrate than with some good video games? And we're trying to finish Pokemon in time for the release of Dragon Quest VII. Yes, we definitely have our work cut out for us. And, well, let's hope we can make it before then. That'll be something to look forward to. Anyway, yeah, today will be... I don't know if it's going to be the second last stream or the last... Or if I'm going to do another one tomorrow. Depending on time, depending on how we go today. Because I'm feeling a bit pressured on time. I don't want to have to do a 12-hour stream on Wednesday. In order to finish Pokemon. I mean, we have pretty much reached rank A, so I don't know. I feel like that's when the game will open up. Will give us all of its secrets, and that's when we'll get close to the ending. But we're nowhere near rank A just yet. But anyway, enough about that. In other news, today, a couple of days ago, on January, what was it, January 29th? Or January 31st? No, actually today. Today, it's the 29th anniversary since the release of Final Fantasy VII in Japan. The original Final Fantasy VII, in case you were wondering. So, to celebrate that day, to celebrate the event, I don't know if they did it on purpose or if it was planned or whatever, but Enix has released a book. Let me just show you. It's a novel. It's called Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Dear Destiny. It, well, as I think you can pretty much read the tweet from the Japanese profile Enix game guide. It depicts the prelude of Tifa and Aerith before their fateful encounter in the OG or in Remake, whichever game you want to take, and their journey, like some events that happen before they meet, before they head off, before the events of the game. Let me just put it that way. So a lot of people are hyped about this. A lot of people have been talking about this, and a lot of people have been, even before it was released, even since when it was announced, this novel has been written by Kazushige Nojima, who is also the scenario writer for the original Final Fantasy VII and Remake and Rebirth. Wait, let me just check that my microphone is on. My microphone is on. Okay. So yeah, he's a scenario writer for pretty much all of Final Fantasy VII and other Final Fantasy games as well, but we're focusing on Final Fantasy VII. So, because a lot of people are interested in the characters and their journey and how they go from one place to another, this has had a lot of hype behind it. It's like people were really interested in it. And also, it's the second novel to be released after the within the remake project. Let me just say that there was another one. Was it On the Way to a Smile? I don't remember which one the first one was. I don't remember the title of the first one, but that one was also about Tifa and Dareth and their journeys and all that. We will get to Pokemon ZA. I just wanted to focus a little bit on this for the first part of the stream, and I think this is becoming a little bit of a segment where we talk about the gaming news of the day. So I don't know. I think I might keep it as a bit of a segment for the first half hour of stream. We focus on other things before we dive into the game. I like it. I'm enjoying it. So anyway, the title is self-explanatory. It tells the events of Tifa and Aerith from their own perspective of some things that happened before they meet up within remake or the OG, and some things that occur. I don't know if they're important or they're crucial. Some people who read this novel, it came out today, but believe me, some people have literally read it from cover to cover, even though it might be, I don't know, I'm speculating here, it might be 800 pages. I don't know how many pages Nojima wrote. It could be 100, it could be 800. I have no idea. I have not looked into it. But yeah, a lot of people have already read this. And yeah, I think I saw some tweets that say that it really changes not only the things that are going to happen in part 3, but it also changes your perspective on how you see things in the previous games too, like in Rebirth or in Remake, how you view the characters of Tifa, Aerith, and also Cloud and Zack. So that's why I think it's interesting. But I also want to share my opinion on something else once we go through with this. Now, the Square Enix manga and books profile on Twitter or X, which is essentially the English version or international version of the Square Enix. Well, the Square Enix. What's the word I'm looking for? The one that releases the department. That's the word I'm looking for. The department that is responsible for releasing all sorts of Square Enix books or other types or manga internationally. They've said that an English edition is coming soon and has called for people to stay tuned for updates on this, on the Dear Destiny book. So anyway, however, people get excited about these things, especially people who are hyped on the characters and if they end up together and all that. So they're really excited about it. So they took it upon themselves to do some translation. So there's one translation. I noticed on Twitter there was one translation that led to a website called Cloud X Tifa. And they've done a few translate. Of course, they haven't been able to translate all of it. But shout out to translators Hoki and Nagisa who have done this. I thought it would be interesting to read a few segments because they've only done a few from Tifa section. I don't know, I'm speculating here, but apparently there's a Tifa section in the book and an Aerith section. So we're just going to look at it. I'm just going to read it a bit. It says here that this is a fan-created resource and not an official translation. So essentially what they've done is they've read through the Japanese, the original, the source material, and they've tried their best to translate it into English for the people who want to read it. So this part is from Tifa section. Part 1, reunion with Emilio and thinking about Cloud. Tifa's past debt is also almost fully paid off with the end finally in sight. Around that time, Emilio shows up with his girlfriend Lauren. He only came because she'd heard the cakes there were good, so he didn't realize it was Tifa's bar. so he was surprised. That night after Emilio's visit, she finds herself thinking about Nibelheim, sadness, anger, trembling, guilt. The next day, Emilio comes back alone. He asks, "Which one of us did you like, me, Tyler, or Lester?" So Emilio, just a bit of context, Emilio is one of Tifa's friends, childhood friends from Nibelheim, along with Cloud and Tyler and Lester. But none of them were romantic interest to Tifa, and she doesn't know how to answer. Emilio then says, "Back then, my whole world was Nibelheim. In that tiny world, you were the best to me, that's all." He quickly realizes his rudeness and apologizes, but Tifa just laughs slightly and changes the subject. He also said he met Cloud a few times in Shinra, but Cloud ignored him whenever he tried to talk to him. That night, Tifa dreams of 13-year-old Cloud standing on the water tower. She remembers how he didn't come to help her when she was in danger, but then reminds herself that he wasn't even there at the time and that there was no point in blaming him because, the whole Sephiroth incident at the reactor and all that. When she wakes up, her thoughts drift to Cloud, the boy I liked the most in the village, no, in my life. The night on the water tower, that's when I fell in love with him, I remember well. Then her mind returns to the Nibelheim incident and fear creeps back in. The following night, she dreams of the past again, Zangan, the villagers, the piano, and her father yelling at Claudia. Tifa says, "Stop, Dad." The presence of Nibelheim inside Tifa continues to grow larger and larger. Part 2, a stranger from Avalanche. A man named Folks Thome, who claimed to be a member of the main Avalanche, came to the bar. He was an extremist who knew how to make bombs and other weapons. Although they suspected he might be a Shinra spy, Jesse said that meeting someone like him at this moment was fate. Sensing that Avalanche's activities were about to shift toward more overt violence, Tifa began to feel guilt and uncertainty. Meanwhile, there was a man investigating Folks. He was a long-time regular at Seventh Heaven and now revealed himself as a Turk. He questioned Tifa about Folks. When asked for his name, Tifa tried to hide and, on impulse, gave the name written on a product brochure Emilia had given her, Cyrus Drake. After the Turks left, Barrett and Tifa became convinced that Folks was a genuine member of Avalanche. It is later revealed that Cyrus Drake is actually Lauren's brother. He came to the bar and told them that Turks had tried to invest in him. He tells Tifa that the fact she told such a lie convinced him they truly were Avalanche, and then proposes a deal. If they want him to stay silent, they must help him expand his food and beverage business. At that point, Avalanche held a meeting and decided that if their lie were ever exposed, they would claim that Tifa had actually had feelings for Folks and had tried to protect him. Jesse told her, "If you're going to lie, think about the man you truly love." Tifa found herself thinking of Cloud. "I want to see him. I want to talk to him. I want to meet him and reminisce about the past as a friend from the same hometown. Does Cloud even remember the promise we made at the water tower?" She was in trouble now, but Cloud wouldn't be able to help her. Imagining a 13-year-old Cloud with that helpless expression on his face, Tifa let out a quiet laugh. "Sorry for laughing," she murmured. "I'll handle this myself, so watch over me." Saying those words made her feel a little lighter. Further investigation by the Turks put not only Folks but also Cyrus under suspicion. Eventually, Tifa was arrested by the Turks, who had been investigating Avalanche, and was confined in a private room. The one who arrested her turned out to be Cyrus's father. Because Tifa had used his son's name, a rumor spread within Shinra that Cyrus had fallen for a woman from the slums and was rejected, which enraged the father, as it ruined his reputation. With his anger, he attempted to torture Tifa using a small crab-type mechanized weapon, but the attempt failed. Through the mediation of a third-party person, it was ultimately decided that the incident will be overlooked on both sides. After that, Folks blew himself up and died. Okay, this is dark. Part 3, a bombing mission. Jessie felt guilty for having drawn Tifa into Avalanche. Tifa confessed that she was afraid of becoming someone who takes lives. Jessie reassured her, saying that they wouldn't resort to violence and that they would find a smarter, more clever way to fight. Then Jessie told about the Marco reactor bombing mission. After that, Lester's Shinra co-worker came to the bar and handed Tifa a letter. It said that Emilio was feeling down, so everyone, including Tyler, will get together and ask if she could come. Tifa declined, saying the bar was too busy. As the co-worker was about to leave, she called out to him and asked whether he knew a man named Cloud Strife. He replied that he didn't, but that he would ask Lester, and started to walk away. Then Tifa said, "Tell him I will go if I can." She immediately fell into self-loathing, feeling guilty for saying that just because she wanted to know anything about Cloud. In the end, due to a train accident that caused heavy crowds at the station, she never managed to meet them anyway. As Jessie continued preparing for the mission, they needed one more person. And then there was a rumor going around that Shinra had killed a soldier who escaped from some facility, but that, in truth, he was still alive, hiding in the slums with a giant sword on his back. When Tifa heard that, she first thought of Zack, but the moment Jesse added a handsome blonde guy, Tifa rushed out of the bar. And that's all we have for now. Okay, thoughts on this? I feel like Nojima is, I don't know, focusing too much on character emotions. Also, he's putting way too much emphasis on the relationship between Tifa and Cloud. Like, I feel like this is making Tifa seem like she was obsessed with Cloud her entire life. Like, I understand how an incident like what happened in Nibelheim with Sephiroth destroying and burning down the entire village and her losing her father and the relationship she had, the childhood relationship she had with Cloud and all that. I understand how all of that could affect her, but at the same time, the events of the original Final Fantasy VII, at least from Cloud's perspective, from Cloud's point of view, they really don't put much, they don't make this seem real. They make this seem blown out of proportion. When Tifa was younger, at least from what I've seen, having played the original Final Fantasy VII multiple times in the past, she didn't seem interested in, not only did she not seem interested in Cloud, she didn't even realize Cloud was there. Like, he was just part of the group of children who were the same age. He just hung out with them every now and again because he happened to be the same age with them, right? Like with Emilio and what's his name, Lester and Tyler and all them, which, by the way, we never got to learn their names in the original. I think only Amelia. And they all hung out with Tifa because, firstly, she was the only girl in the group. There were no other girls in the group. It was just boys hanging around. And then whenever Cloud was like, what do you call them? It was an introvert, right? He found it really difficult to communicate with the other boys, but he also wasn't really that interested in talking to them. He liked Tifa from the start, from a young boy, but that was literally the only reason why he would go near them. He had no interest in talking to them. So this doesn't seem this. I'm reading this and I'm thinking, I think Nojima is trying to make Tifa have childhood feelings for Cloud. Like, I understand if you've known someone from childhood, you have some sort of affection towards them. But this makes it seem that Tifa was like crazy about Cloud ever since she was like 6 years old. That's not like that. And yes, they met at the tower. They met at the water tower that night because he asked her to go there because he had this grand plan of going to Shinra and becoming a soldier just for her, you know, so he could grow up and become someone people respect. But by people, we mean Tifa, right? But Tifa didn't see him. He was just someone that a boy from the village, right? That's literally all he was to her. Okay, maybe he showed up when Sephiroth attacked, and maybe that made him a little bit more important to her. But I reckon that she saw him as a brother. That's pretty much all the importance that Cloud had to Tifa. He was a brother. And then when she found him in Shinra, in Midgar, when he had Mako poisoning, she took him in because she wanted to protect him, because he was someone she knew from her childhood village, like a brother, and she wanted to protect him. None of this is real. Like, I'm reading this and I'm thinking Nojima is trying to put way too much emphasis in it. Now, if Tifa had started having feelings for Cloud later on, if Tifa started seeing Cloud as someone she could grow up with later on throughout the course of events of Final Fantasy VII, you know, because the world is ending and he got into Avalanche and they became closer over time, I can understand that. But Tifa being infatuated with the Cloud from when she was 6 years old, that's fake. Like Tifa dreams of 13-year-old Cloud standing on the water tower. No. Like, I feel like he's trying way too hard. Like, Nojima is a master story writer, right? I respect his scenarios. He's like Final Fantasy, from every Final Fantasy he's written is action-packed, is full of twists and turns. And it's cool, it's great. It's you love to play them. But this is a bit too much. I don't think he can write romantasy or romance novels. This is what he's trying to do, and I feel like he's slipping. I feel like he's slipping up. Because if you had left it as it was in the OG, as I said earlier, like Tifa slowly gets closer to Cloud and she starts seeing him as a romantic partner from a brother or someone who was, well, not a brother, but like, you know, that brotherly love, that close friendship. It turns over time and it becomes romantic. And they eventually, you know, you see them in Advent Children, they're living together and they're taking care of kids like Marlene and what's the other boy, Denzel. Like, that's understandable. It grows over time. The emotions start building up over time. But this is like, oh my God, look, it's Cloud. I'm so in love with him immediately. No, don't do that. Also, it's feeding into something else, and I want to talk about this. It's feeding into something else that's it's feeding into this thing in the fandom, which is becoming toxic. And you're seeing it. I see it literally every day when I open Twitter or X or whatever you want to call it. When people there's this war going on, war of words, where people are like, Cloud is going to be with Aerith. No, Cloud's going to be with Tifa. And people are literally sending threats to one another, depending on who Cloud's going to be with. And they're all like, some people are like, no, they're going to change the remake project is going to change it and Aerith is going to live and she's going to end up with Cloud. And other people are like, no, you're delusional. Cloud ends up with Tifa and that's all there is to it. And it's like, it's silly. This whole thing is dumb. Who cares? Play the video game. The whole thing is to enjoy it and to go through the journey with the characters. Who cares who ends up with who? I don't understand why people put so much emphasis on who ends up with who and why they have to live their own fantasies through the characters. It's like, to me, this is one of the least important aspects of the game. Who ends up with who, or who cares about who, or who, like, yeah, I'm going to go and create a whole bloody fan fiction of Barrett ending up with Red 13 and make posters on my walls. Come on. The game is so much more than that. The game talks about so much other stuff than who ends up with who. The game talks about life. The game talks about, it has so much message, so much messaging, and so many important things to say that focusing on this element of it would be missing the forest for the trees, like, honestly. But when Nojima goes and writes novels like these, it just feeds on those fixations that some fans have. And honestly, I don't like it. That's why I've never read any of these novels. The previous novels that were written, like the On the Way to a Smile series, those were really good. Those were, and I think those were important to the franchise as well, to the series, not franchise, because they spoke about things that happened, like that they elevated some of the characters that didn't have that much attention, like like Reeve, like Denzel, like Rufus, and Aerith as well. After she passed away, like some of the people she met in the live stream, and they got a little bit of screen time as well. So it was that was important. But here, all I'm seeing, I mean, I am seeing a little bit of other stuff too. It seems a little bit dark because it says Tifa was taken in and she was tortured. What's that all about? I mean, I get it that you're trying to paint Shinra in an even darker light. We know they're a bad company. You don't need to push that messaging any more forward. We've already made up our minds about them. Bad company, you know? But mostly what I'm seeing, the biggest message I'm getting from these pages is that Tifa was infatuated with Cloud ever since she was a young girl, ever since she met him, or ever since that night at the water tower. No. If anything, that might have creeped her out a bit because Cloud invited her there and out of the blue, he says, I'm leaving. I'm going to join Shinra and be a big soldier like Sephiroth. And she's like, okay. Well, maybe if I'm in trouble, you can come and rescue me sometime. And he's like, sure. And that was literally all they said. Literally all they said. And then they went to bed. So it's too much. It's too much, and it's feeding into, and literally that part of the community that I'm saying are becoming a little bit toxic. Those were the ones that picked up this novel. Those were the first people that went out there, and especially the ones that are the Cloties, as they're called, who went out there. They picked up this novel and they were like, "Oh, look, we told you that Cloud is going to end up with Tifa and Aerith is going to end up with Zack. We told you," and they're shoving it in the face of the others, of the Clariths or whatever they're called, and they're rubbing it in their faces, while the other side, the Clariths, are calling this misogyny. They're saying that Nojima is being misogynistic against his own characters. They're trying to cope. They're trying to handle it in the best way they can. But this is all, like, to me, it's just like, why are we focusing so much on the romantic element? You know? Missing the forest for the trees. It's like, I understand you want your characters to be happy, you want them to end up together. That might mean that, you know, you get to live out your fantasy through them. I mean, it is a Final Fantasy. But you might be doing it a little bit too much. You might be pushing it a bit too much, you know. And if anything, it's a fantasy game, right? So whatever scenario you think up about the characters, you can go with it. You can roll with it. If you want Cloud to end up with Aerith, that's fine. That's fine. You can make up that scenario and roll with it. You know, Aerith never died. She never died. She stayed alive, and she ended up with Cloud, and Zack never existed. There are even people who are calling for Zack and Tifa to be a couple. You know, more power to you. Don't let anyone spoil it for you. Forget this novel. This novel is just words on a page. But I don't understand why we're putting so much emphasis. But the thing is, people need it to be approved by others. Not only approved, but affirmed. They need it to be affirmed. Like, some people are calling this gospel or heresy or whatever. They're saying, how dare he write this? Like, no, Cloud needs to end up with Aerith or the world's going to burn. You know? It's a bit too much. It's a bit too much. Like, would I read this novel? No. I love the games. You know me. You can see my background. I live and breathe Final Fantasy. But I will not read this novel because it's taking the Final Fantasy series to an area where I wouldn't go. I'm not into novels. I'm not into romance or anything like that. I would never read it. Plus, I can't read novels. I can't sit down and read a 600-page book, or how many pages this is. I don't have the patience for it. Like, that's why I would go for the abridged version. Someone tell me in 2 sentences or less what this book is about. It's about what happens to Tifa and Aerith before they meet up in Remake. Cool. Okay, I'm done. I'm happy. I don't want to hear the details. Like, I'm satisfied. Now, going in and learning about Tifa's feelings or thoughts, or how she thought about Cloud before she met him and how she was anxious and all that, or how Aerith never got over Zack and how Cloud was never a replacement for Zack and how she thought about Zack till the moment she died and all that. I don't care. Honestly. Like I said, the game has so much other meaningful stuff. Like, I prefer to talk about how what Sephiroth's plan is in part 3, what areas are going to be depicted in part 3, what we're going to see, how the battle system is going to change, what they're going to do with Vincent and Sid. Like, literally everything about part 3. Give me that. This, I don't want to offend anyone, but for me, this is rubbish. I'm not going to read it. Like, I showed it on stream for a little bit. I just wanted to go through it. But, you know, let's just say I understand the community members who obsess with this. I don't think I understand them. Like, but more power to them. If you really like this stuff, more power to you. I just want to say that maybe they should dial it back a bit with all the hateful and toxic commentary going back and forth on social media. Maybe dial it down a bit. As I said, you can have whatever couple you want. You can have it in your mind or in your drawings or wherever. No one's going to take that away from you. Now, if you get something different on the game on part 3, if you see something different, if we see there's a scene that's expected to happen under the high wind and all that happened in the OG. If we do see that, don't freak out. It's not the end of the world. And yeah, honestly, focus on the other parts of the game. We're about to see the big media crashing down and timelines merging. There's other stuff. There's other good stuff to take in the game. Don't focus so much on the, well, personally for me, less meaningful. For you, it might be a bit more meaningful, but, as I said, put your attention in other things. You don't have to obsess. I understand this is important to people, but, take it with try and take it with a grain of salt. Anyway, that's about it with Dear Destiny. As I said, it's the 29th anniversary of Final Fantasy VII, so happy anniversary, and hopefully the next anniversary will be even better. Hopefully the next one, we'll get the game, we'll get the last piece of the puzzle, and we'll be here playing. All right, that's all I had to say about this. Let me just sign out before we switch to the Switch. We switch to the Switch. All right. Be right back.